And John Blaxland is an ANU security and intelligence expert who's co-written the official history of ASIO. He joins us now from Bangkok in Thailand. John Blaxland, welcome. Is there a need to reorganise the way Australia approaches domestic security?
Thanks for having me on the show, Joe. I must admit I don't find the arguments compelling. In fact, I haven't heard the arguments. There is rumour that this is about improved efficiency and coordination, but there is a price to be paid for improved efficiency. We need to remember, and having written about ASIO, I know that the separation of powers and keeping ASIO separate from police functions and being accountable to the Attorney General has actually been something that's been hotly contested, subject to considerable reforms over a number of years, and is actually quite refined today.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, well, I was just going to say, so when we think about making significant changes, it's important to, while we have in many instances looked to the UK for inspiration, we've actually, by now, we have developed and refined our own set of mechanisms. We're a federal constitutional nation. We're not the unitary monarchy of the United Kingdom. We have a system whereby states and federal authorities have separate functions and separate responsibilities that are complementary, and we have mechanisms in place that are very, very highly refined, and they've been refined following a series of trials, errors, adjustments and reforms dating back to the Hilton Hotel bombing in February 1978, if not before. So we have today a system in place that is not quite the Home Office model of the UK, but has a lot of collegiality, has a lot of connections, a lot of collegiality, that it's actually pretty refined, it's pretty sophisticated, and it has delivered for the Australian people a proactive, assertive, yet restrained approach to national security. And I think that's something worth preserving.
Are there positives, though, in the British experience that could be adapted for Australia?
Look, the British experience is clearly positive for the British. But the point is that we haven't ever had a Home Office. They have for a long, long time. We have developed an alternative model that works for us. And so, yes, you can say what the British are doing works, but that's in Britain. We're a country that actually has, on many levels, looked more to North America, particularly the United States and Canada, for role models in arranging a division of responsibility between federal and state security and police bodies. That's something that's pretty highly refined. I think we've got a bit of a colonial cringe going on here, feeling that we've got to, doff our lids to to the UK model here, when in fact what we have here in Australia is arguably the world's best standard in terms of the ability of agencies to work collegially with a degree of contestability, with accountability, and with collegiality to get the job done. We've seen that time and time again. We've seen it in Melbourne, we've seen it in Sydney, we've seen it in response to a whole spectrum of security challenges that have been nipped in the bud effectively by very close cooperation between these agencies. That cooperation hasn't happened by accident. It is the product of a long set of reforms, of committed people plugged in, very closely interacting with liaison arrangements and formalised procedures for these agencies to cooperate effectively together. Why would we?
And so then what is the danger in reshaping the organisational approach to this, creating a new ministry overseeing border security, federal police and ASIO? I've heard you this morning talking about kind of the possible corrosive effects.
Indeed. The problem is the way it's structured at the moment is there is a strong incentive for people to be cooperative, respectful, collegial, and even respectfully critical of other ideas. If all of these various bodies and agencies are put under one body, under one person, one minister and one secretary, now this is not about individual personalities. This is not a political point I'm trying to make here. This is an organisational point about what's best for Australia. If you do that, there is a potential for that contestability, for that challenging of ideas, the development of new ideas to be stifled.
If this super portfolio was created, would Peter Dutton be the right man for the job, or would any person be the right person for this job, considering your concerns?
Well, my concern is that this is too much power, too much responsibility for really any one ministry. I think this is something that is appropriately shared between ministries, between ministers, and between departments and agencies. It's working. It's working for very good reasons. It's not. I'm not wanting to make this about Peter Dutton. This is about a conceptual model that is unnecessary, given what we already have that's highly refined, that's delivering the goods for the Australian people.
Okay, John Blaxland, thanks for talking to us this morning from Bangkok.